What does a direct attack on free speech look like? Basically, there's a dangerous backlash against free speech brewing this week, in which a vindictive Twitter user, backed by mobs of followers, seeks to cow open discourse and instill fear in people who disagree with him. Wait, don't go. I'm not talking about the letter. I'm talking about a missive from 45 Friday morning, which as of writing has more than 80,000 likes and more than 30,000 retweets. The squatter's message provides an interesting counterpoint to a raging controversy in a journalistic and academic circles over the state of democratic in the nonpartisan sense debate. If you're lucky, but who is these days? Or if you're living under a rock and who isn't these days, talk about 45 supporters that live under a rock. And you have avoided Twitter this week, you may have missed it. I won't weigh in on the debate itself, which you can find amply explored elsewhere, or characterize the views of the generally opposing sides, but the dispute is about the culture of speech and whether there is a healthy forum for opening debates, for the openly debating ideas. By contrast, what 45 is doing is making a bona fide threat against the First Amendment, against the First Amendment free speech itself, trying to use the power of the government to punish people whose expression he finds objectionable. The signers of the letter acknowledge that intersane debate is not the most pressing political issue of the moment. The forces of liberalism um, are gaining strength through Hollywood, are gaining strength throughout the world, and have a powerful ally in 45 who represents a real threat to democracy. And here's to prove that's true. With this threat, as often it is difficult to tell whether 45 is serious or just throwing out random ideas. As his poll numbers continue to plummet, the squatter has taken to tweeting even more frenetically than usual, voicing ideas that seem designed to bind his base more closely to him and ratchet up the temperature of politics, both of which he thinks will help him win in November, which they won't. But just this week, the federal government embarked on another astonishing quest in the higher education policy, as ICE announced that international students whose American institutions are holding classes only online in the fall because of the coronavirus pandemic must leave and will not be permitted to enter the United States. That makes it hard to dismiss even the wild-eyed threats as idle. Um, Flights over progressivism on campus are nothing new in American politics. For decades, conservatives, both inside and outside academia, have complained about the democratic bias in education, noting correctly that the faculty of elite colleges lean decidedly to the Democrat side. Alumni of the crusade against democratic bias includes figures such as the 45 backer and Silicon Valley billionaire Peter Thiel, and the White House speechwriter and Svengali, and the white nationalist Stephen Miller. These were largely, however, arguments about speech within institutions. The government has occasionally punished universities for what they say, as when the oh hold on as when the squatters owned 45 University was shut down due to being a fraudulent college. But then again, that wasn't really a university and the speech was fraudulent. 45 was doing something different here. He is not merely complaining about the Democratic professors, nor is he complaining, as some of his as his anecdotes have, that politics has no place in the classroom. He does not charge that colleges are using their tax exempt status to make a generically political speech that would be politically incoherent, because 45 has also allowed tax exempt churches to engage more freely in political activity. Incoherence has seldom been a barrier for this squatter, of course. In the past, he has also threatened to block funding the colleges that don't allow conservatives to speak, but this isn't about what speech is allowed either. Instead, his habit of never leaving anything as a subtext, 45 is explicit that the problem is that schools are engaging in political behavior that he deems excessively democratic. Or put differently, 45 wants the federal government to punish the speech of private institutions based on the specific content of that speech. Ironically, this is exactly what conservatives warned that the Obama administration was up to when it questioned the tax exempt status of the some conservative groups. Investigations found no wrongdoing, though the 45 administration settled lawsuits over the matter. 45 doesn't have some secret agenda he's hiding, but he's very plain about it. The ICE order regarding international students fits with the White House's long-running effort to tighten legal immigration, spearheaded by the white supremacist Miller. But that decision and 45's latest tweets also fit together in part of war on a higher education. They come in the context of what appears to be a major realignment in the electorate. Historically, white college-educated voters were the core of the Repug base. Every GOP candidate from Dwight Eisenhower from 1956 to Mitt Romney in 2012 had won that particular group. Now it is deserting the Repug Party. Exit polls from 2016 showed 45 eking out at 48, 45 edge among the white college graduates, a major erosion. The Pew Research Center study of validated voters actually found that Hillary Clinton won the group 55 to 38. 45 made up for the losses by dominated among the non-white college-educated whites, historically the backbone of the Democratic Party, but now replaced that coalition by black voters. Whether 45 narrowly had won the college-educated whites in 2016 or lost them, the shift was clearly underway. It has continued. According to a recent New York Times Siena College poll, Democrat Joe Biden has a 28-point edge among those such voters. It's not a coincidence that as 45 and the college-educated voters diverge, he's more willing or eager to attack colleges and universities. As the person wrote in 2017, the beginning of the 45 administration also coincided with the huge shift in the Repug attitudes as they aligned against institutions of higher learning. Whether the squatter can make much headway here, assuming that he even tries, is unclear. Much depends on whether he wins re-election, which he won't, because a large-scale political inquisition against colleges is unlikely to be completed and ratified by January 2021. Similarly, the ICE order seems certain to be entangled in a litigation that will push it past the start of the fall semester, and it might ultimately not stand up in court. But the specter of the federal government trying to punish universities for the context of their speech is still jarring. To borrow from another context, this is stifling. Atmosphere will ultimately harm the most vital cases of our time.